You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, today's podcast episode, guys, I wanted to spend a few minutes with you talking about something that we have been teasing and something that we have been, adopting the last couple of months behind the scenes, and that is the big announcement, the big reveal that we are switching to LMN software for Brian's lawn maintenance. Now, here's a quick, rundown. I don't want this to be a big pitch fest or anything like that for LMN. I just want to talk to you guys candidly about what we're doing with our company, why we're making the switch, and what we're looking to accomplish with switching our CRMs as we look to grow our lawn and landscaping company to the next level in 2024 and frankly beyond. So here's the whole lay of the land, if you guys will. And I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about where we've been, where we're at, and kind of where we're going with regarding software for our company and really the growth of the company in general. So just to take it back for a couple quick minutes here, when we were getting started with our lawn and landscaping business, especially when we were just 19, 20 years old, getting started back when I was working part-time at True Green, there might have been software out, at that time, maybe even, of course, an LMN and maybe a couple other CRMs, but nothing like what you guys have access to today, right? Today you have Jobber and Yardbook and Lawn Buddy and LMN and Synced Up and so many more. And that's fantastic. But, frankly, 15, 16, 17 years ago when I got started doing this thing, your options were pretty limited. And most of you guys can relate. We did a lot of stuff with pen and paper. We did a lot of stuff with carbon copy invoices, Excel sheets. I remember having a netbook, if you guys remember those back in the day. And I would literally track my customers, my route, our expenses, if you will, our monthly accounts receivable that were coming in, just via an Excel spreadsheet. It was literally that simple. And, it worked for a little while. That was, checks in the mail kind of a deal. That's where those kind of statements and phrases kind of come from. Well, we would have a 3 carbon, copy invoice, and the white one, I think, went to the customer. The yellow one was for us. And then like our pink one was like for office or something like that, or maybe a file down the road, whatever it was. All I know is that we would mail all these out in an envelope with just literally a paper invoice there. We get that back in the mail, hopefully, a week or two later, and we would, I think, mark paid on the yellow invoice. And that was like old school business. I mean, it's that much of a throwback to some of you guys that have worked in like retail or small businesses, or maybe your family had a print shop or a bakery or a cobbler or something like that, or you guys were selling shoes. I don't know. That's just how business was done with receipt books and paper. Well, this little thing came around technology wise called the internet. And that allowed, a couple different things to happen. Number one, it allowed us to really start growing our company online with the advent of software, because now people were making software and they could scale. Think about QuickBooks, right? Like they made the QuickBooks platform and they put it on the internet. Now everybody can use it. Square or different merchants now started having like POS terminal services where now independent small business owners could have a food truck or a coffee truck or, a mobile lobster bisque soup truck, going down the road. And now that guy can have a point of sale, terminal. But before that, it was, usually regulated to, you had to have a pretty big retail outfit and, have a merchant like Visa or MasterCard process your payments. Well, fast forward a little bit more, back in about 2000, what would it be, like 16 or 14 maybe? 14, 15, 16, whatever it was. We were using a service called Square. I think it might have even been called Square Up. And Square allowed me to finally start sending digital payments to our customers, but they it wasn't like a CRM in the actual like definition of like having all of our customer data and info. It was really just a very rudimentary way for me to send invoices. I mean, at the time now, you have PayPal, you have Square, maybe a QuickBooks Online that you can send invoices. We weren't that cool, trust me. We did not have an active QuickBooks account until 2018, folks, just to like give you some context. That means that we had been in business for almost 12 years before we ever adopted any kind of accounting software for our lawn and landscaping company. Well, again, just to fast forward a little bit longer, we ended up using Square for a couple of years, and that was actually pretty transformative, as you guys can imagine, from writing out 100, 125, invoices every single month on carbon copy paper, and always having a stack of yellows that never got marked paid because we never received the check. And with this weird accounting practice, like at home, and I was living at home with my mom back then because I was, 24, 25, 26 years old and hadn't met Liz yet. And that was just like kind of taking it down memory lane about what we did for our billing back in the day. It wasn't anything sexy. It worked, albeit it was always chaos and always somebody owing you a couple of bucks. And I often think to myself, imagine like what a Troy Clog company was doing back then, or a Corey Ballard with a Perfect Cut doing $2 million, $5 million, $10 million, $20 million. I mean, you had an office staff of an army of folks that would have to pay attention to this stuff to actually make it work, right? And so we didn't have any resources like that. And so we grew the business the best we could. And we were doing, 50, 80 grand a year in revenue, nothing crazy. But that was, our cute little Brian's Lawn Maintenance company. And that, I know a lot of folks aspire to grow a small company, 50, 80 grand on the side. But that's kind of where we were at. Well, Square was pretty transformative for us because now we can start sending digital payments online. And for any of you guys that have went through this evolution together, you know how different it is from having to go to the ATM every day or every evening or to the bank to now taking payments online and being able to have those deposits available for you a day later, 2 days later, 4 or 5 days later. Like, that's huge when you can cut out your daily bank run, especially when you're trying to cut grass from 8 to 5 every day, right? So adopting Square for us personally was huge. And that really took me all the way to about 2015, 2016, maybe 2017. And that's when we were on YouTube for about a year. And I was looking for another way to grow our company and really start adopting software to get a better hold on our bookkeeping, our financials, and really get the lay of the land about what we're trying to do with our company so we can have like real numbers, get a mortgage, get qualified for a nicer apartment, get new vehicle loans for a personal truck and a business truck, and then of course a personal car and a family car for Liz, right? Like we were now freshly engaged and married, and we were trying to get our feet underneath us financially. And this was, like I said, back in 2015, 16, 17, where we're just trying to grow up and become young adults. So through the whole process of things, I actually was watching some YouTube videos and came across a gentleman that a lot of you guys know and love. His name is Jonathan with Florida Turf Pros. Now, the cool thing about Jonathan was he wasn't trying to be like an influencer. He wasn't trying to be, some social media guru. He wasn't trying to get to 100,000 YouTube subscribers. He was just putting out helpful content. And he just had a really genuine demeanor about him. And something I've always emulated, I tried to emulate with Jonathan, and something that we've always tried to do with our content similarly. But Jonathan wasn't like trying to get paid, to say nice things about companies or get paid to promote companies that he had not used before or anything like that, which I don't have any problem with any of the above. Social media is just a great way for companies to advertise with somebody small, and hopefully that family's budget can, make some extra income, and they can pay for their trip to Disney or their, kids' orthodontic bill, whatever it is, right? So about 6-7 years ago now, Jonathan was talking about a CRM called Yardbook. Now, before we go into this whole pitch about Yardbook and everything that software helped us with growing our company, again, you have to kind of understand the lay of the land. At this time, it wasn't like every other day you go on Instagram or YouTube, you see a jobber ad or a podcast, with somebody promoting a CRM like Synced Up or LMN. This was like the wild, wild west. So back then, there wasn't this huge gold rush for people promoting software to help you grow your business. There wasn't any conversation about know your numbers or profit and loss statements. Like the big boys were doing this kind of stuff, the Troy Clogs, the Corey Ballards, but the rank and file social media influencer wasn't talking about this stuff. And I was just going through that process myself as we were looking to polish up our books, because I just met my friend Mike Bedell in 2016, 2017. And he was like, hey, I think you're building something here, both with the lawn care company and the social media thing. Who knows where this can go? If this thing really does get some legs underneath it, you're going to want to build a good foundation here with bookkeepers and payroll companies and CPAs and QuickBooks and just good financial software so you can track and have good documentation about everything that you have going on. It wasn't like, hey dude, you're going to be a millionaire, get those YouTube millions. It was just like, hey dude, I don't want this thing to get to be a runaway freight train and you not understand like what's going on with your businesses. So again, just stick with me here. We'll get to where we've graduated to with Yardbook and then again recently to LMN. So in 2017, we hired a new CPA. We got on QuickBooks Online. We started hiring bookkeepers. Let you guys know Cycle CPA. We've been able to utilize their services, and things have really grown since then. Yardbook, allowed us to finally track all of our customer info and all of our customer data. We could start logging notes in the profile. We could start with routing. We could start with online bill payment. We could start with credit card on file and so much more. And again, you guys have to understand when we came from paper invoices and carbon copies to Square, though, at that time wasn't like a CRM that allowed you to put in all your customer info. It was literally just designed, hey, who's got an email? Where do you want to send an invoice? And generate an invoice. And then that customer would hopefully pay, a day or two later. It wasn't designed to like build routes or measure or do mapping or routing or send out newsletters. It's not really designed to do anything like that. So that's where Yardbook came into play, and it was a huge graduation for Brian's Lawn Maintenance for this last 5 or 6 years. And I'm ever so grateful for that conversation with Jonathan, with Florida Turf Pros, putting out those videos. John Pajak, he's got a great Facebook group that he basically runs and manages that is all about all things Yardbook. And it's just been a really, really insightful part of our company's growth. Well, let's fast forward now and let's see where we're at today. As we've grown our company, as we've adopted different softwares, if we've adopted different thought processes, as we've adopted different goals to grow our company, as you can imagine, like the system and the software has to update with us, right? The infrastructure has to update with us. So here's where we came from. The last 12 or 18 months, Liz and I have really been really excited about the growth of Brian's Lawn Maintenance, our actual lawn and landscape company. And again, it's so funny because in one breath, doing the revenue we do, there's so many listening in. We're like, dude, that's awesome. That's a great company. I hope to be there one day. Man, I'd love to get there. And then other folks, that's what their company does in a month's worth of revenue or a week's worth of revenue, right? If you're doing $5 million a year, you're doing, a couple $100,000 a month, obviously, right? To get there, $500,000 a month. And we've always been really excited and proud about every step that we accomplish, every next level, every next peak. So here's the reality. The company went from, in the last 5 or 6 years, from like $70,000 in revenue to $120,000. I remember crossing 6 figures and just being like, holy crap, we freaking did it. That was in 2017, the same year I met my friend Mike Bedell. Tweaked just a couple things mentally and also financially, and we were able to really punch through to that 6-figure mark. We grew $170,000, then $180,000, I think like $275,000, and then this last year, $375,000. And the trajectory and the growth curve, as you guys can imagine, what we're primed for with growth is 600, 800, up to $1 million. We've got some really good guys that right now we kind of have this super crew thing going on where we've got 3 super talented dudes, but we have the capacity to break that into 3 crews tomorrow and really have 3 crews going out there generating about $250,000 worth of revenue each, plus some side work, some side landscaping work, of course, some snow, and you're sitting right there at $800,000 to $1 million. And I don't think that's anything that's that far of a stretch. I don't think that's anything wild. I don't think that's any like supernatural growth or, hey, we're going to go from here to a 2 million tomorrow. Like, I think that's pretty reasonable expectations and pretty reasonable growth. Well, here's the reality of it is why we adopted an LMN software, why we're looking to really help you guys understand business, the language of business, how to utilize some really robust software in your company. If you decide to, and you aspire to grow, north of $350,000, $400,000, $500,000 in revenue, and you can utilize a platform like LMN, then I think you're going to be really excited about learning more and going down that rabbit hole with us together. But for us personally, we're growing a real company, and I just want to report back to you guys what we're doing. And for us, the last 4 or 5 months, it's really opened up our eyes to what we know, what we don't know, what we think we know, and then what we don't know that others don't know as well, right? The Johari window, I think, is what it's called. We talked about that a couple podcast episodes ago with my younger brother, Adam, from Brandon Bull. Really fun conversation. Well, Liz and I know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. And we know what others don't know, right? So there's a couple things that we can operate in our strength zones there. And Liz and I knew that we wanted to grow. We knew that Yardbook was kind of tapping out for us. We knew that LMN had some great software, but we had some concerns. We had some questions. And I'm hoping to continuously have this conversation over the next couple of years, of course, how we can utilize the software to help us grow our business, specifically a pretty heavy maintenance company, not just landscaping. But we did. We had some reservations about would LMN work for us? Would the software work for us? Would it work for a company our size? What about the financial commitment, $400 or $500 a month? Like, is that stomachable? Is that something that our palate can taste and digest? And our company support versus maybe paying a fraction of the price for some of these other CRMs, free-ish, for Yardbook, a couple $100 maybe for Jobber. Like, where are we at? Are we making the right decision for our company?
Attention all entrepreneurs. Achieve more in 24 with Entrepreneur Academy's Link membership. For a limited time only through April 30th, when you join Link, you'll receive an exclusive offer. Free registration for you and your team to the Equip Exposition in Louisville, Kentucky. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Connect, learn, and grow your business while staying up to date on industry trends and innovations. Elevate your entrepreneurial journey today by joining Link. Seize this incredible offer and propel your business to new heights. Unlock your free registration to Equip for yourself and your team when you purchase your Link membership before April 30th. You got it. There's a link for that in the show description.
So that conversation really spurred into us wanting to adopt LMN. More so than that, though, and I got to be totally honest, what really was the catalyst for us is the ability to have some really authentic connections and conversations with Mark Bradley. Not so much one-on-one, although we've had a couple of those. It was more so his mastermind summit that you guys have heard me talk about endlessly, and many other people share and promote. And a lot of you guys have been to it endlessly. It was the thought process about how Mark runs a business, the operating system of how he runs a business. And, LMN is at the core of your business. And it's like this, it's the center hub where the rest of the business is going to spiral off of and for, right? So it's not just, hey, we have a new CRM and we have a new dashboard and we have a new place to take all of our customers. It's really a philosophy and an operating system for how we're approaching business and the growth of our company and our budget and what we're projecting to do and how we're building our estimates and our templates. And really, I'll just say this honestly, like really actually knowing our numbers once and for all. So here's the deal. Up until then, we're doing an autopsy on everything that we do, right? We have bookkeepers, but it's always, we get those reports 3 weeks, 4 weeks later after the last billing cycle or statement closes out, right? So we're kind of like looking backwards instead of looking forwards. We have quarterly or monthly conversations with our CPA, but it's never usually where is the company going, because we don't know what kind of budget we have set for the following year, and we don't know what kind of estimates necessarily we have in the pipeline, right? Like the confidence that we are going to exude into the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months is going to be directly related and correlated to what we have in the pipeline. And it's really hard to do something like that when you have a CRM that's limited in its capacity to serve you that way, right? So a lot of words basically to just simply say that we're really pumped about being able to have a predictable, calculable way of measuring company growth and also being able to accurately financially guide the ship for Brian's Law Maintenance as we look to grow to 600 grand in revenue, 800 grand in revenue, $1 million plus in revenue and beyond with our company. So here's the bottom line. What I'm really excited about is, number one, once and for all, finally having an actual company budget, an operating budget, so we know what's coming in, what's going out, where do we need to get to, what do we need to make, how much is it costing us to run, how much is it costing us to operate. It has been probably one of the more eye-opening exercises as we've been onboarding and on-ramping with LMN, is actually seeing what it costs to run the company or the crews, or even just sending out a truck, a guy, and some hand tools to go weed, some boulevards and islands and some landscape beds. It's very, very alarming what you think is profitable and isn't, and what you think isn't profitable and actually could be or is profitable. The light bulb has went on probably about 25 times. The eyes have been, super white and bright-eyed as I look at our company, and we actually get into the numbers of how things are operating. And I go, well, you would have never convinced me of that just 6 months ago or 3 months ago, that we were operating XYZ portion of our business unprofitably or so profitably, right? It's really been a very insightful conversation. I hope, and here's the reason for the message, and here's the reason for the podcast. I hope that you guys have these same opportunities. Again, no pitch here for anybody to sign up with LMN or to go down this rabbit hole. But here's one thing that I did say to a couple of different friends of mine that promote other CRMs and utilize other different softwares in their business. And they have the same size business as mine or above. And hear me out here. Just give me a little bit of latitude. No shade on anything or anybody. But I've asked many friends lately who promote other CRMs. I say, hey, do you feel super confident in your ability to know exactly what your company needs to operate, needs to charge to make money, has charged to make money, and you actually have a good financial understanding about what your business is doing? Frankly, the handful of different folks that I have asked that question to, they've all said no. And it's not an indictment that they're promoting a different CRM. It just might mean that they're in a different season or phase of their business and their life, and they're happy utilizing that CRM. Now, frankly, there's also this kind of, I call it a moral dilemma sometimes with influencers, right? It's, well, do you promote what's good for the masses and take a smaller check, or do you take the bigger check and it's good for you and it might not be as good for the masses? And I'm not, again, not here to call anybody out or anything like that. But it is the truth. It is the reality. I've said for many years, I would use Yardbook even if they didn't pay us. And we have. Eventually along the way, they did start paying us to help share the good news and promote them. But it's been fantastic software that we would have utilized it for 5 or 6 years, regardless of whether they would have paid us. Similarly with LMN, we would have adopted it the same way, whether we were going to be ambassadors for them or not. And I will tell you guys, that should be the ultimate merit test to whether or not somebody's promoting you something and whether or not you should hook your caboose to what they're doing. I always say, are they running a real business? Are they looking to be more influencers? Or are they looking to actually grow a lawn and landscape company? Has their company grown in the last 3 years? Has their company shrink in the last 3 years? What are they trying to do that season or that phase in their life? And sometimes you just watch one video or go to one event or one podcast episode, and it's hard to get that full context of somebody and where they're at. So be very mindful of what you consume. Be very mindful of what you adopt, including your software. This is not something, I had a great conversation with somebody. I think it was via just an Instagram feed post and some comment section back and forth. They said, switching your CRM isn't like switching tires on your truck. It's not like switching brands of lawnmowers. It's not something that you do flippantly. It's not something that you just casually do once or twice, a year. It's something that, like, I had the exchange was, I went to Lawn Buddy, I went to Yardbook, I went to Jobber, then I came back to Yardbook, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like your spouse. Like, you don't draft your spouse, at least hopefully you don't. Or if you do, don't do it more than once, if you know what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, it's not something that you should be experimenting with. How are you ever going to get competent? How are you going to get into a workflow? How are you ever going to get into a cadence if you're continuously switching something up? And that's why we don't switch anything. I run the same mower brands. I run the same truck brands. We run the same trailer brands. And the only largest, biggest change in our company in honestly 20 years has been now our CRM for LMN. And that's something that, barring anything unforeseeable, we're going to be operating with for the next little while here, probably the next 5, 10, 20 years. So I just wanted to give a little bit of context there that if you guys are doing 0 to 300 grand, maybe 350 grand, I think you can be just fine with a Yardbook or a Jobber. I know you can. And frankly, if you want to go $500,000, even to $1 million, I know there's a lot of great guys that are utilizing Jobber, but that's where the system taps out, because you don't get all the same financial reportings and budgeting that you're going to get with an LMN. And it's so hard for me. It's like right now, as I go through this process, it's like me trying to describe the taste of water. Okay. That's an oldie. If you guys remember that, some of you guys have been around for a minute. Like, hey, describe to me the taste of water. And you go, well, it's wet, it's watery, it's liquid, it's water, it's wet. It tastes like nothing. It is just, it's exactly, you don't know how to describe the taste of water. So that's what I'm trying to do right now, is try to share with you guys my excitement and enthusiasm for seeing my financial budget and actually having real numbers for me to work off and know that we're bidding work profitably. It's insane, folks, that we have even us, even quote unquote, some of the people that are really trying to demystify and dispel a lot of the confusion in the industry about how to grow a business. Even myself, we're still guessing and guesstimating on quite a bit of stuff for our own personal company. Okay. And that's something that we can't do moving forward as we decide to grow a company that's going to be doing $500,000, $2 million plus, right? You can't guess at 2 million. You can guess at a couple $100,000, be up or down a couple percent. It's not going to be usually that big of a deal. But when you're talking 1 or 2% difference, or 5 or 10% difference, when you got a $2 million company, that could be catastrophic, and that could be world game changing in a good way, right? So here's where we're at right now with Brian's Law Maintenance. We're super excited about adopting LMN. We're super excited about taking our company from the 350, 400 grand range to 750 grand, 800 grand, $1 million plus this year and into the next. We're really excited about being able to utilize the software for not only our budget, but our estimating, and then also our work scheduling and our workflow. We're really excited about utilizing the budget analysis, so we can know that a company is operating at a profitable state the whole way through the year, and not just doing a end of year autopsy and seeing around what's left in the checking account or what's left in the bank account. And even more so, like I said, broadly speaking, we're very excited about linking up thought process wise with Mark Bradley, who has been there and done that. He is an industry insider. He's an industry, you could say, icon. I think that word's getting a little played out lately with Taylor Swifties and all that mess, but iconic, right? But he is an industry insider, and he's somebody who has built a $50 million company and helped thousands of other people along the 30 plus years he's been doing this grow successful businesses as well. And that's who I'm really excited about linking up and hooking up our thought process to, so we can not only grow our company, but really help you guys as we hope to be just a speaker box to amplify everything that Mark's sharing with us, that I can share with you guys to help you grow as well. And frankly, to be totally candid, help demystify the middle, which is that 350, 400 grand to $1 million plus business. Once you figure that portion out, which is what we're in the process of learning ourselves, then you have a repeatable, predictable strategy for growing your business. And then after that, it's just, hey, what's your risk tolerance? What's your pain tolerance for growth? How big do you want to get this thing? Do you want to go to 2 to 5, 10 million? Well, it's just some simple building blocks, rinse and repeat. Of course, you have to mature as a leader. There's different thought process there that you're going to have to adopt and change as you continue to grow through the rings and the rungs. But that's something that I'm looking forward to going through personally. I know my wife Liz is as well, as we're in this together. And so that's what we're really excited about. Not just LMN, but really the whole thing that is the LMN team and Mark Bradley and all of his great leadership that are coming together through this whole conversation. So that being said, no hard pitch here. If you guys want to always check out, LMN, there's a free trial, I believe. We'll try to leave a link in the description. If you guys do want to sign up with LMN, we are going to be ambassadors. We are going to be helping to share the good news. I'm really, really honestly, sincerely pumped about that. You can use promo code Brian, BRIAN, all one word, to sign up. Also, that works if you guys go from the $29 base tier and base program to just kind of get your feet wet to the full-blown, full service package that's $400 or $500. Also, if you adopt Greenius, it'll save you a couple bucks as well. So just punch in promo code Brian every time you guys go to adopt the software, to sign up, or to graduate to the different rungs. We'll be able to help you guys save some money along the way. And thank you for the support. Thanks for using our code. We're really excited about that. Guys, hopefully I didn't step on anybody's toes. Hopefully we didn't make anybody upset. Hopefully you guys have a little bit better understanding about why we're making the switch to LMN. That is a huge news for us. I know sometimes it might not be the most sexiest conversation talking about, software for your business. But for us personally, when you talk about exchanging and changing out the operating system of your business, and I'm not just talking about software, I'm talking about the thought process here, it really unlocks the true potential that you have as an individual and as an organization to grow. And that's why Liz and I are super excited about this. And it's probably, if not it is, the biggest change in our company in its entire 20-year history, bar none. So we're really, really pumped about that. And I hope you guys will come on that adventure with us and watch us do that real time, both on the podcast and on the YouTube channel. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for the love. Thanks so much for the support. I'm doing my best here to keep my voice going. If anybody wants to send up a prayer to still help Fullerton get a little bit of healing, I will receive that and name it, claim it all freaking day long. So thank you guys. Love you guys there. And if you have any questions about the software, if you guys have any thoughts, shoot me an email. And lastly, we're going to be doing that LMN live launch party here next week on the 12th, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. We're going to go through our actual budget, show you guys the actual ins and outs of our portal, our login. You guys get to see everything that we're doing, and you guys get to have a first-hand tour with our tour guide, Mark Bradley, showing you guys actually how the software looks. So if you're looking to maybe make a change, there's still plenty of time in the season, folks. We're just getting ramped up and onboarded ourselves. Plenty of time to still get everything squared away before the season really starts hitting the ground running, late March, April, May. Plenty of time to adopt and still to onboard. But I invite you guys to put that in your calendar, March 12th, 7 to 9 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you guys there. All right, over now, guys. You have a beautiful day, and we look forward to catching up with you here on the next one.
It's finally happening. Spring is in bloom, and so is your chance to elevate your business with the Spring Postcard Training Program and Design from Lawntrepreneur Academy. Marketing, it's not a one-shot deal. It's about consistent effort and strategic outreach. That's why we've crafted these postcards to simplify your spring marketing efforts. Say goodbye to the struggle of designing your own and hello to our professionally crafted templates, tailored specifically for your lawn and landscape business. With just a few simple steps, you can customize the postcard with your business details and then let our trusted partner, Postcard Mania, handle the rest. Whether you're targeting new clients or reconnecting with existing ones, our spring postcard is your key to a thriving season. Order now and make this year your most successful yet. There's a link for the Lawntrepreneur Academy in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.